All right, welcome back to another episode of The Final Word. We are back for episode 6. Thank you so much for continuing to support the podcast and listen to The Final Word. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell everybody about the podcast. Share it on the internet if you'd like, or don't do any of that. Just keep doing what you're doing, and that works too. Of course, I am joined by Gary, just baking in the sunlight right now. Gary, how you doing, buddy?
It's hot up here. Can you hear my fan?
I can't hear it. No, we're good.
Okay,
And if we
because
could,
it's
even if we
hot.
could, even if we could hear it, that would he would just be the third mic. We got to make sure that your temp is doing okay. We don't want you running too hot over there.
He's probably got better jokes than me anyway.
If you feel like you can't hack it today, just turn the microphone towards the fan, and we'll just listen to the sweet humming. This is so random. You're on TikTok, right? You go
Yeah.
on TikTok sometimes. Have you seen this sound clip that's going around of the woman? She was making a video in like her kitchen, and the she had a fan going, and she starts like the fan was like humming, like to the point where you could hear it in the video, and she
hmm
like starts harmonizing with the hum of the fan, and it just becomes this like beautiful like harmony with this fan to the point where every video I'm seeing on my For You page is like people playing the sound of her harmonizing with her fan and like crying about like their childhood. Like, I got to find a video and send it to you. I mean, it's the most relaxing. It should be something you listen to while you meditate. Like, it's beautiful. TikTok is a wild place,
It
and
is.
people do t- take things and just really run with them. But dude, I screen recorded the video of the original video of the woman, and I was like, I'm gonna listen to this while I do my breathing exercises in
I
the
love
morning.
that, dude.
Like,
That's sick.
it's the most. I don't know why I have it on my phone right now. I'll play it for you.
Play it.
What
Let's
am I
hear it.
talking about? I
Yeah.
literally have it recorded. Um,
TikTok does rule. It's the reaction shit that I just like when people are like recording themselves pointing up to like a video. I'm like, why the fuck are you here?
TikTok is an incredible, outlet, I think, for a lot of stuff. And then of course it's the internet and people have to ruin things.
They
So,
got to ruin it. Yeah.
it's like it's like when you're in high school and you're sitting at lunch and that one kid that you just hate just comes and sits down next to you. Like, that's just that person exists everywhere in life, and they also exist on TikTok.
It's a good analogy. Like we were having fun here. Get the fuck out of here, Michael
We're all
Borgeson.
having a good time, and then Kyle had to show up, and
Yeah,
he
like,
won't stop talking. Whatever. So yeah, you get what I'm saying. All right, let me play this for you, and then
all
I
right.
don't know, maybe we'll just meditate together or cry or talk about our childhood. I really just turned you talking about your fan into a whole thing here, but
It's
we're
good.
we'll get to it. All right, hold on.
That Royal Otis shit made me cry. That linger thing. Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, I could do a whole podcast on that one song.
Me
Uh,
too. I would
And
cry.
I think it's just that guy's voice. I don't know what it is, but that blew up on TikTok too. People were making videos crying to that. Or it was just like grown men, like their girlfriends, just filming their
Them,
boyfriends, like
yes.
watching it on repeat.
Yeah. I was just sitting up here like bobbing my head like I'm Stevie Wonder. Alexis
It's a
was like,
great dude. It's a great song. I'm trying to go see them when they come here.
"Oh, you should." My God.
Yeah. Apparently, they like close with that song now at like every show.
They got to.
You have to. Yeah. I don't know if they actually close with it, but they do play it, I think, at every show now. All right.
Fantastic. Right.
Listen to this girl
Okay.
harmonize with her fan.
It's great podcasting. I just hear my fan.
You can't hear me?
Mm-mm. Do you want me to just harmonize with my fan real quick?
You can't hear it?
I swear to God, I can't hear that.
Something's wrong with my microphone. All right, whatever. I'll send it to you later. Who gives a shit? Either way, I'm sure if you're on TikTok, although the crazy thing, I really can't shut the fuck up about this, but the crazy thing about TikTok is how there's so many different worlds of TikTok where I'm telling you like, oh, I can't stop seeing all these videos about the harmonizing girl with her fan, and you're like, I've never seen that video one time in my entire life.
It's so expansive.
It's crazy. I mean, there's like a billion people on there, so I guess that's
It's like,
that's
it's
part
like
of
a
why
big
we
part
don't
of your
see
life, and
it.
I haven't seen it.
Now I'm upset because I was going to play another sound effect, and I'm worried you're not going to be able to hear that either. But I did want to make a. You got to be able to hear this.
Fart as loud as you can.
You can't hear that?
Hold it further away. Maybe it was working when you were holding it further away.
I can't believe you can't hear that.
I swear to
That's
God, I can't hear it. Is it
are we
me?
I was gonna say it's gotta be you. Because
Could
I'm
be me.
talking into the microphone and you could hear it just fine.
I know. I don't know.
Hold
I
on, hold
can't
on.
hear
Well,
that.
let's try this one more time, really quick here. You
Are
can't
you
hear this?
hallucinating?
Now, hold on. Because
Oh, now I can hear. I'm just kidding.
because the charged lemonade has been murdered. R.I.P. to the charged lemonade.
R.I.P. It took them long enough.
Dude, you know what's so funny is I was reading an article before we started the show tonight about it. They say in the article, they're like, this makes sense, right? Because two people died after
Hmm.
drinking, whether that's what killed them or not, who's to say? But two human beings drank a lemonade from Panera Bread and then died immediately afterwards. Like
Yeah.
that's all you. And then a third person has like irreversible heart damage now because of it. And you would assume that it would be pulled off the shelves immediately. But it's in the article. It goes that would immediately just prove guilt. So they're like, okay, let's wait like 6 months and then we'll just slowly fade it out, and they'll think we're just getting rid of it
They were
because
they're
they were had multiple lawsuits going on.
they're just like ripping the stickers off the windows, but they weren't canceling the lemonade.
It's yeah, you just go to a Goodwill and it's just like a box full of charged lemonade cups or just like in the donation bin. Like,
There's
okay,
just guys walking around construction sites with charged lemonades cup. But I mean, maybe you're right. I never thought of that. Maybe if they had pulled it right away,
you
that
look
is in they're
guilty.
in
Yeah,
trouble. Yeah.
you gotta just and we obviously talked about this when you were drinking one and when the stories were coming out about people dying, but this idea of obviously pulling it right away makes you look guilty, but it was also getting them a ton of free press. Like no, even though people were literally dying because of Panera Bread, their name was still in the news. I mean, nobody was talking about Panera Bread before that.
I mean, they sold one to me because of the story. I
Exactly.
bought one to see if it would kill me.
They got your money because two people died from their
Yeah.
lemonade. So,
100%. That's the only reason
I
I bought
mean,
one. And I got
I,
a sandwich at the same time and
exact
a cup of soup.
they got their money's worth for sure. I would have just loved to have been in that meeting, where the second guy dies and it's just like an all
Mm.
hands marketing Panera Bread meeting. I would have just loved to have been sitting in that room just to hear them be like, all right, maybe if one more person dies, we pull it. If not, I say we just give it 6 months.
Like,
Wait for
let's slow
people to
roll this.
forget. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we'll just
Yeah.
pull it.
They're like, you know what? This is actually the best thing that's ever happened to this company. The turkey Bravo with aioli and bacon, and now these deaths. And there's this guy with his fist on the table and just stroking his mustache. And he's like, you know what? Let's let this go.
You gotta just let it fade because no one's ever gonna after today, no one's ever gonna think about Panera Bread again. I mean, the only way Panera Bread's ever getting any press ever again is if some sort of serial killer becomes famous and his last name is Panera, or he becomes the Panera serial killer and he murders people in the back of Panera Breads.
The same guy's like, I got an idea. Charged mayonnaise.
We're gonna make a caffeine infused BLT and it's gonna fucking kill people.
I got an idea. I got an idea. We're gonna put cocaine in the macaroni salad. Okay? But it's liquid.
You do you know the line would be around the block if they were like, it's our new Coke mac and cheese.
Coke mac and cheese, dude. I'm all over that.
There would just be every like food blogger and YouTube, every person who eats food on the internet would be like, well, it's part of the gig, man. I got to try the cocaine mac and cheese. This is what the people want.
They just start
Then
staying open until 4 a.m.
people are just going to rehab because they're addicted to Panera Bread's mac and
I
cheese.
can't,
I mean,
I can't shake this shit.
I guarantee you there are probably people that are like upset that they're getting rid of the charged lemonade. There are people
Yeah.
that are just built different and probably were
Yeah.
drinking those things every day.
Yeah, you're right to say that like the people that died definitely had like this underlying condition for sure. There's plenty of people that could just handle it and that were
Yeah.
like, this actually fucking rules.
Well,
And they're pissed.
it came out in 2002. So it's like the charged lemonade
Jesus.
was around for a long time and nobody died. So eventually, somebody with a heart condition got themselves a charged lemonade and you never know when it's going to be, your time to go, and you don't usually assume it's going to be while ingesting a lemonade at Panera Bread, but I mean, if you're getting heart palpitations at home by yourself, maybe don't get a caffeinated drink. But some people got to learn the hard way, and Panera Bread was there to teach them a lesson.
My heart rate peaked at 119 on the Panera Bread lemonade.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go anywhere near that. I can't handle caffeine anyway. You know, I had a period in my early 20s where I could just chug Monster energy drinks
Same here.
and just chain smoke cigarettes while
Can you
chugging
believe
Monsters.
that we were like that?
Dude, youth is wasted on the young man
It
because
is, man.
the fact that I spent prime years of my life just chugging Monster and chain smoking cigarettes is absolutely insane. I could have been doing so many things with my life
Yes,
and being active and using this healthy young body for whatever I pleased.
right.
And instead I was drinking an energy drink that smelt like chemicals.
I was drinking gasoline. I would drink the monsters that had the screw off tops. And then I would smoke cigarettes. I would
Yeah.
smoke Marlboro menthols. And then I would lay on my couch and watch reruns of Seinfeld. That's what I was doing with my youth. What an
Yeah.
idiot.
I mean, dude, how crazy is it that like adults now our age, people in like their 40s drink Monster energy drinks? They're just built different too. I don't know
Mhm.
how if I drank half a Monster right now, I would have the same effects as these people who drank the charged lemonade. I think my heart would explode, or I would speed up whatever heart condition I'm eventually going to die from.
Yeah, I think I'd end up on the street. I honestly do. I would have the same effect on me as like just people that are like addicted to fentanyl. It would be the same shit.
You
I
would
would lose
just,
control of my
yeah.
life.
I mean, not to just go down a whole rabbit hole here, but the Four Locos when those came out
Oh my
with the
God.
caffeine, I mean, buddy, there was a night in my life where I drank multiple of those, and this is when they originally came out, not afterwards when they like changed the recipe so people would stop murdering each other.
Right.
But I had a night one night on the Four Locos that I can't ever tell anybody about ever. Like I just can't ever repeat the story.
You won't do it here?
I mean, what if there is one other person that knows about this story, and it's never been spoken of since. We've looked each other in the eyes and just it has never been brought up again.
Dude, do you remember Juice?
No.
Okay, it was like same as the Four Locos, but it was called Juice. It was Joose, and it was the same idea. It was like a
Oh my God.
caffeinated malt beverage.
Yeah.
And I have a similar night like that
Yeah.
where like I fell asleep on a porch and it wasn't like a porch of
Buddy.
like anybody I knew.
Yes. I
There
woke
was
up the
like
next
somebody had
morning.
like patio furniture.
I had bite marks the next
Jesus.
morning.
Animal? Human?
I don't know.
Fuck.
No, it was a human, but
Okay.
that's all I could say.
All right. We're
I
moving on.
I can't go any further. Um, R.I.P. to the charged lemonade.
You came into the caffeine market just the same as everyone else, and you had a run. And then for whatever reason, you were maligned. And it's not fair. It's not right. But we salute you. Caffeine lemonade. And by the way, great flavors, mint this, hibiscus that. It was really brilliant. You did a great thing. And we're sorry to see you go, honestly.
At least you took two people with you.
You
You
did
you
take two people down with
you
hot tub.
you literally took two human souls with you in just the span of 2 years. There's not a lot of beverages that could say the same. I
There
mean,
aren't.
now
Maybe
granted,
Surge.
Surge definitely killed some teenagers for
Yeah.
sure. There was a couple of kids with heart conditions that were unaware and had a surge, and then they just didn't wake up the next day.
Found out they got born with a hole in their heart, and they're like, ah,
And a
yeah,
bunch of surge went in that hole and killed them immediately. Yeah. I mean, look,
yeah,
obviously, if we really want to get into it, the amount of sugar that's in a Coca-Cola has probably killed millions of people. But
yeah, that's for sure.
the charged lemonade, it's a sleeper cell. It comes out of nowhere. Coca-Cola's in the long game. The charged lemonade gets right to business. There is no bebopping and scatting around when it
No,
comes to the charged lemonade. It goes for your jugular immediately. So one of a kind. Shout out Panera Bread. What a time to be alive. R.I.P. Charged Lemonade.
all right.
Um, well, this podcast is about people dying, so this next story is also about humans being at this point, should we just say murdered? Are people getting murdered? Are people dying or are people getting murdered?
Well, I think I know, but are we allowed to say? I mean, again, I
I
always try to say this. It's an established podcast. I don't want to speak
I
out of turn.
I am more than happy to put on my conspiracy cap right now. And
Okay.
we can step into that world. What we're getting to obviously is there is a second Boeing whistleblower that has now died. We discussed the first Boeing whistleblower who on paper killed himself.
Right.
The news reported it as a suicide. That I don't know if I ever saw if an autopsy came out. Maybe it hasn't been long enough. It's how crazy is it that there's already been there has enough time hasn't passed for us to get an autopsy on the first Boeing whistleblower, and a second has already died in that amount of time.
I think it's just our second podcast since that.
Well, this is the sixth episode of this podcast that we're now doing. So within yeah the past 3 episodes,
Yeah.
two Boeing whistleblowers have now died. Um, like I said, the first whistleblower was an apparent suicide. I think a lot of people were a little skeptical with that assessment because obviously the implications of him being a whistleblower on Boeing and what he was discussing, and obviously all the troubles Boeing was having. And now there is a second. Obviously, if you're gonna start wiping out whistleblowers, they can't be they can't be similar deaths. We can't have the second whistleblower also blow his brains out. Um,
Blow his
so
whistle.
so so they clearly is that is that disrespectful? It felt weird saying blow your brains out.
No, that's what they're saying he did, but he didn't.
He shot himself in the head. I don't know. Blow your brains out sound is like cartoonish almost. He killed himself. We'll just
Yeah, he killed himself.
he put a gun in his mouth and pulled the trigger. He did.
But we got
Or
big air quotes. Like
yeah,
he killed him. He blew his
I
brains
wanted
out.
to I wanted to so badly think that he did do that, that he was suicidal and that he planned the suicide around the deposition with Boeing and knew that that would possibly, make people question Boeing more. I believe the term was two birds, one bullet. What did we say? Two Boeings,
One
one
bagel
dead
bite.
guy.
Two birds,
Uh
one bagel bite.
so I wanted to believe that, but now that the second Boeing whistleblower is now dead, it's really hard for that to be a coincidence.
So are you you said you put your cap on. Are
Yeah.
you kind of coming on the other side
I
now?
think I'm going and I am the one who called Boeing the mafia of the skies. They
Yeah,
they
that's right.
they have a I've been watching a lot of Sopranos lately. They have a Tony Soprano vibe to them at this point. Um,
God, I wish I had my good Tony. I've been working on Tony Soprano for so long.
Yeah,
Christopher.
it's
But
not bad.
I don't have it. I don't have a good one.
It's not bad.
You're coming around though. Like
Oh,
this one is kind of and the way I know we'll get into it, but the way that this happened is also very, very strange. And you're right. It couldn't be another suicide.
yeah.
But this
Got to
one
mix it up.
feels, yes, this one feels like a poisoning thing. You brought up when we were just talking before the show, ricin in the Breaking Bad episode, like a
Yeah,
poisoning thing.
it's got a Breaking Bad kind of vibe to it
Hmm.
because the ricin is a type of poison that makes it look like you just got sick and died. And
Yeah,
this is essentially what happened to him. So why couldn't somebody just poison him? He was in the hospital for 2 weeks,
right.
and then it basically looked like pneumonia and then a bacterial infection.
So he goes into the hospital with like basically shortness of breath.
Yeah.
Which, you could look that up all day if you wanted. I wouldn't suggest it because it will suggest a billion things. But shortness of breath can mean a lot of things. He goes in for shortness of breath, and they put him on a breathing machine pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And then he contracts basically staph infection. I believe, what is it? MRSA,
Yeah.
um, which is not uncommon in hospitals from what I saw on Reddit, which I know is dumb, but he contracts he contracts staph infection, and then after that, shit goes downhill so fast to the point where his hands and feet turn black. They were talking to his family about a life-saving measure to amputate his hands and feet in order to save his life.
Which I read a story maybe 6 months ago about a woman who was going in for a procedure to get a what's it called not a gallstone like a stone. What's the stone? The
Kidney, gallbladder.
yeah, like a kidney stone. That's what it's called, right? Yeah, kidney stone.
Mhm.
She went in for a procedure for kidney stones, had a similar thing happen literally while the surgery, like shit just went sideways. They literally had to amputate both of her feet and her hands, and it saved her life. And,
Mhm.
obviously she was not thrilled when you go in for routine kidney stone surgery and you wake up and you don't have feet or hands anymore. But
Be a bummer.
she was quoted as saying, I'm just thankful to be alive. But it is crazy how things could go so sideways so quick.
And if you look up pictures of this guy, and again, his name, RIP, Josh Dean, uh he's fit. And not only is he fit, he's kind of handsome, he's tan. Um, it seems very, very strange. And I guess anything could happen at any time. Life's precious, shit's crazy. But he does not look the type to die in 2 weeks in the hands of a hospital.
I mean, look, you assume you see a healthy person go into the hospital for shortness of breath. Of course, there are things, people do die from pneumonia, people die from the flu. It's very rare when it's a young, healthy adult.
Hmm.
But yeah, that bacterial infection is what gets you. And I would love to know if they were able to trace back where the bacterial infection came from.
Well,
Like, can't,
his family did his family, and I know this is going to take forever, but his family did request a full autopsy.
yeah.
You just got to start thinking like where does this end? Like who actually can perform the autopsy without any intervention? When that record comes out, how does that get to the public without again any intervention? How many people are going to be able to keep their hands off of this? I just think when we're talking about these kind of companies, they hold huge government contracts, they're defense contractors. I just don't see us getting an accurate report at the end of this. This guy
I
goes into the hospital for shortness of breath, dies completely, doesn't even die. His body melts in a hospital. And now we're going to hope that the autopsy tells us that
oh
he
yeah, I
just
mean,
picked up
look,
influenza.
I mean, Boeing could do whatever they want at this point. Clearly, they've now murdered two people in front of the entire world,
World.
and
Yeah.
everybody is just going, "Well, that's pretty crazy."
Yeah.
Two whistleblowers dead
Yeah.
in a span of 3 months.
By the way, not only whistleblowers, but like they are whistleblowers, but there was crazy shit happening on Boeing planes. From the
Yeah.
time the first guy decided to blow his whistle, two planes crashed. We got the door blowing off of another plane, planes nosediving. There
Yeah.
was clearly something wrong here during
I
this
mean,
period where these guys worked there.
the Boeing Netflix documentary came out years ago at this
Yeah.
point. Uh what's his name? God, I can't think of anything today. The dude on HBO, the
John Oliver?
yes, John Oliver did an incredible episode on Boeing.
Hmm.
Definitely worth checking out if you want like a quick, if you don't want to watch the documentary, he does like a quick 20 on it and really breaks everything down. um I would love to see him do like a some sort of episode, or at least even just discuss it maybe in the beginning of an episode, the fact that there's another like what more
Pretty
people.
dangerous at this point. I
it,
don't know if I'd do that if I were him.
well, that's what I was just about to say is I'm surprised to not see more people talking about this stuff. I mean, his job is to comment on the news. This
Yeah.
is news. I
Hmm.
can't imagine Boeing's going to murder John Oliver. Uh, every news outlet posted about this story. They know it's going to get out. I mean, we're basically talking like we know for sure that Boeing murdered these two
We
guys,
are.
but
Yes.
it's crazy how, I mean, if let's just say like another high up employee at Boeing died, right? Wasn't a whistleblower, it was just like a high level executive, somebody who knows a lot of information about Boeing. If that happened, I'd go, all right, well, that's pretty weird and sketchy, but he probably just whatever. He got pneumonia and he got a bacterial infection, and that's when you have pneumonia, your body is very weak, very susceptible to infection. I get it, but the fact that he was another whistleblower is just too on the nose.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know why more people aren't losing their minds over this. Boeing is just straight up murdering people in front of us, and everyone's just going, yeah, that's pretty crazy, and then flipping to the next thing.
I think that's why though, man. Like I don't think like first of all, I don't think I don't know, we sound insane, but
I mean, is
th- th-
anybody investigating this as a possible murder? I would
yes.
they are.
Well, so what I read today was, well, I read it, last time
Boeing
we talked
hired
about this.
an investigator.
Yeah, Boeing's investigating this. No, so the local police are still investigating the John Barrett thing, the suicide. I don't know who's investigating John Dean. All I know for a fact is that his family has called for the autopsy, but the local police in South Carolina are investigating the John Barrett thing. For people like us or anybody that is listening to this that are like-minded, there has to be at some point where you start making links. And at the very least, don't fucking fly any more Boeing planes. One, because
Yeah,
we can shut them out that way. You can
yeah,
fly Airbus. Almost every major airline company offers you the option at this point. I just found that out.
yeah,
You can choose which kind of plane you want to fucking fly on anyway. But at the end of the day, you're right. These are not, this is not just a higher up that died. These are two people that were in court giving depositions about problems at Boeing that have resulted in two crashes and nearly a third crash that were saying, hey, we saw shortcuts. Well, they weren't doing this. They weren't drilling this. The tail, you know, what he was saying, this guy was saying that they were misdrilling holes in the plane and then making it up with spare parts. And he's
yeah,
dead.
they were ignoring manufacturing defects. There was a lot of stuff that Boeing was doing that he was, blowing the whistle on, and this is what you get for speaking up. This is what you get for trying to do the right thing and, inform the public about a major safety issue. You get pneumonia and you die immediately.
Yeah,
Because I mean,
they don't like you.
I'll tell you what, I went to the hospital and I got a infection. The reason why I had to have surgery was because of a bacterial infection. I am not a person that you would label as in ideal health, and I was just fine. I'm doing dandy. This man goes in with now, pneumonia. Sure, pneumonia's not great, but you know, I don't know, man. I the whole thing and whatever. Yes, there are people dying from pneumonia. I'm sure somebody today, an adult male, probably died today from pneumonia. But it's just everything else around it is just sketchy. And I don't know. I think, who knows, 20 years from now, somebody over at Boeing will be on their deathbed and they'll be like, I hired a hitman for Boeing, or I was a hitman for Boeing, and I poisoned this guy, and I shot this other guy.
But see, why doesn't that ever happen? Because that should happen all the time.
What do you mean?
Like people admitting like these
Yeah.
guilts on their deathbed, and it just
Well,
those
that's the time to do
stories
it.
never come out.
Yeah. Well, not everybody could be like that one chick whose bank robbing dad just started a podcast.
Ah, yeah.
Some people,
Killed me.
some people probably do get deathbed confessions. There was going back to TikTok really quick. There was a nurse who was on TikTok and she was talking about how she works in hospice, and I mean she could write a book on all of the stuff people confess to her right before they die. I mean, you want to get those secrets out before it's too late,
Fuck
and
wouldn't you?
I personally can't relate. I like a secret, and I plan on going to my grave with a few of them. But maybe my mind will change.
Yeah,
Uh,
that fucking Four Loko story. Is that going with you?
I that one's probably got to go. That one's probably got to go to the grave with me. But
Jesus Christ, it must be wild. I'll talk to you
it's
after. Come on.
honestly, I don't know if I would even tell you afterwards.
Jesus Christ.
Um, but yeah, man, I don't know. I think down the road it would be really interesting. Obviously, this is very entertaining. It's so unfortunate that two
Yeah.
people have died, but you know, to live in a world where something like this is just happening right in front of us, it blows my mind that so many people could care less. That so many people, like I said, read this in the news and then immediately just skip to the next thing and don't ever even think about it again. I mean, I'm sitting by myself at home being like, I'm like in the shower, just whistling and shampooing, and then just immediately going, man, Boeing really is just murdering people right
Murdering
now.
people.
It's crazy.
If you think about it, like, and maybe this will be like the last thing I say about it, but if you think about it, if Boeing does like have to halt operations, and they've already had these like major gaps where like they can't sell their planes, they've had to ground planes, you have to think about the economical impact of that. People not being able to fly or it being hard to travel and how that would shut down the travel industry. Travel industry is that's all you do when you travel is spend money. Doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're going for business, if you're going for, leisure, you're just spending money. So it's I could understand why it would be a protected industry and a protected company. And not only that, they have a government contract for defense. Everybody's got to be like
I don't
breaking their
really,
backs to stop these people from saying anything.
I don't want Boeing to go away. I want the people who are in charge to go away. I'm
Yeah,
fine with Boeing planes existing, but I want somebody to be running these operations to the point where manufacturing defects aren't being ignored and that they're not rushing orders just to make deadlines and for CEOs to get bonuses. I want them to, and this is part of, I think it was either the documentary, I think it was the John Oliver story, where he talks about like the merger of Boeing with this other company, and that's sort of when everything went downhill. And I just want Boeing to be run correctly. And if they wouldn't mind, stop murdering people. I don't think I'm asking for that much.
it's not a whole lot to be like, hey, please make sure we're safe. And then if we're safe, you don't have to kill anybody.
Maybe spend the extra money and teach the pilots how to use the equipment that you're putting on the plane. I don't know. Maybe that's a crazy thing for me to ask for. I would like you, $1 trillion company, to
Hmm.
spend some of that money on. I'm not asking for you to build super planes and get me from New York to LA in 30 minutes. I just want to not die while I get on, my flight to Omaha. And I would like the pilots who are flying these planes to feel safe after they do some cocaine in the bathroom. I don't think that's
The
that crazy.
average cost of a round trip flight within the US, just within the US, is $367. Now that seems low to me, but that's still pretty high. It costs $400 to fly anywhere.
Yeah.
This is happening thousands, tens of thousands. They have money.
Of
They're
course they
making
do.
money.
They have bill they're it's a $1 billion company. Do you
Why
know how
cut the
much a
corners?
billion is?
A billion is like so inconceivable to me.
It's something like
It's 1,000 million.
it's like if you were to count to 1 million, it would take you like what is, did you ever have you ever heard that
Yeah, I've seen these things where like they try to like just show how insane $1 billion is. None of
yeah.
us will ever touch it. Nobody who's within the reach of my voice will have $1 billion.
Yeah, here. This is, I mean, there, yeah. 1 million seconds is about 12 days. 1
Okay.
billion seconds? How long do you think a billion seconds is? If
If
a
a million
million
is
seconds
12
is
days,
12 days, yeah. How long
I'll
is 1 billion
say,
seconds?
I'll say, I don't know. I'm trying to 10 that. This 1,000?
It's 32 years.
Yeah, fuck that. It's ridiculous how much a billion is.
Um, 1 million minutes ago was approximately 2 years ago. 1 billion minutes ago was the year 114 AD.
It's unbelievable. What do they need this for? Why did these companies have to amass so much? That's good.
A
Those are good.
billion
I like those.
seconds is 32 years. That's
It's
so
fucking insane.
crazy. So, yeah, a billion is insane. Boeing has more money than Jesus Christ himself. They could do literally anything they want, and they choose not to. Instead, I hope the hitmen are getting paid good. I hope they're not cheaping out on the hit cut. I hope the hitmen are making good cash. Like we're
Jesus
like
died at 33, so if he made, it would have taken him his whole life to make a
Jesus
billion dollars.
Jesus died after 1 billion seconds. He lived
Yeah, he
for a
died
billion.
after 1 billion. He died at a billion seconds.
He lived for 1 billion seconds. All right.
Jesus.
Well, shout out Boeing. They straight up murder people now,
Shout out Jesus.
and, and apparently everyone's just okay with it. So imagine being HR at Boeing right now. Woo!
No way. No reports. No reports.
Got to be a couple of job openings over in the HR department over at
I should
Boeing
look
right
into
now.
getting a job. I bet you I could find something on LinkedIn. I want a new job too.
I
So
guarantee you, the grown man who runs the HR at Boeing just has the creepiest mustache. I mean, there's just no way. It's the head of HR doesn't look like a pedophile.
it's
There's
just
just no
Ron
way.
Swanson over there, probably.
Oh no,
You know,
that's
you
a
love Ron
no. How?
Swanson.
Yeah, we can't disrespect Ron Swanson like that. I'm thinking more along the lines of Mr. Belding.
Belding with a mustache.
Didn't he get in trouble for being a pedophile or a creep or something?
I don't know. The guy from Seventh Heaven did.
Of course he did. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just pick your an evangelical
Yeah. Yeah.
superstar on the Jesus channel. That's the guy who's running HR over at Boeing right
Joel
now.
Osteen is just like,
We're literally
I'm
asking to get murdered by like three giant corporations right now. Like we're going after the
fuck him.
Christians, the evangelicals. They can come get some. And
Rob, if I die in a suicide, I didn't do it.
same here, brother.
All
Actually,
right, bro.
I may have done it. I don't know. Sometimes it doesn't seem like the worst idea, but I'd say 50-50 for me. If I
Okay.
die by suicide, really, really
I'm
do
gonna look
something.
into it.
I'll leave it. Look, if I do kill myself, I'll leave a note. All right. If there's no
All right.
note, I didn't kill myself.
Mail me something first.
All right. Do we want to get into? I don't know how long we've been going for. We've been going. I mean, probably. Have we been close to an hour already?
No, I think 30.
30 ish. I mean, all
No,
right.
no, yeah,
I
it's eight
really
o'clock.
need
You're
to.
right.
I really need to start a timer before we do these things, but it doesn't matter. We'll get into this quickly and we'll wrap it up here. But I've been wanting to talk about this for a while. Obviously, other things have been coming up, so we keep pushing the story. But there is this woman in Scotland who can't feel pain. She does not feel pain. She's been this way her entire life. She's 71 years old now. The story goes a 71-year-old woman in Scotland has lived her entire life not only not feeling the pain of burns, but any other pain as well. Her extremely rare insensitivity to pain is caused by a mutation in a gene previously thought to be useless in the body. And this is according to a new report published, I believe, this year or maybe a few years back. Doctors finally realized that there was something different about the woman when she had hand surgery and reported feeling no pain before or after the procedure, which is just wild. And she later told doctors that a year earlier she was diagnosed with arthritis in her hip, and
Hmm.
scans showed that she had, very just
Yeah.
like basically like, it's gotten to the point where she should be feeling incredible pain in her hips, and she felt absolutely nothing. Obviously, this isn't like a death story, but I think it fits in the vibe of what we're kind of getting to here because one, I mean, at least for me, I immediately just go to this woman should be fighting crime. She's 71 years old. I don't know why she didn't purchase a cape in
Put on a
her
mask.
20s, chug a Four Locos, and start fighting criminals. But
Said she's
also,
just gardening.
yeah. Also, at some point in the article, she talks about how she just thought that's how everybody was, and I'm like, how
That's crazy.
dumb are you? Is there another mutation gene that makes you stupid? Like, what do you mean you thought everybody just didn't feel the heat of the oven when you put your hand on it? Like, I don't understand why she wasn't performing magic tricks in the streets like Chris Angel and just cleaning up in Vegas. Like, what is going on here?
What is funny about that little quip there is that there are instances of this happening elsewhere, and one of the kids that I read about was a Pakistani street performer that would just like fucking kill his body.
Yeah, I
He
mean, why wouldn't you?
that's what he was doing. He was just destroying himself. He died at like 22 because he leapt off of a balcony.
Oh God.
Um, but this is not it's very uncommon. It's very rare.
Yeah.
And one of the articles I read about why it's so rare is because a lot of these people don't make it to adult age. They die early and they don't have children. So the
Because what
gene
they're
dies with them.
kids and they
Yeah,
don't have those guardrails of feeling pain, so something happens and they die.
right. So this is a I'm terrible at reading, but let me try. So this is from a doctor. This is a BBC article from 2017. It says of the CIP, so CIP is congenital insensitivity to pain.
Yeah.
So this is the gene they have. Of the CIP patients I've worked with in the UK, so many males have killed themselves by their late 20s by doing ridiculously dangerous things because they're not restrained by pain. And then he
Such
goes,
a such a dude thing to be like, I can't feel pain and then accidentally
just
kill yourself.
do a backflip onto a,
Yeah.
yeah, 100%. I'm going to jump down this
The
railing and
yeah, the reason why the only reason we have this one person is because it's a woman, because she's not an insane man
she didn't do
trying to
dumb
do
shit.
backflips into a dumpster on
A
fire to
dumpster. Yeah,
impress his friends.
yes, exactly. We all
Yeah.
saw Jackass. I mean, can you imagine if Jackass got a hold of one of these
We're
guys?
so lucky she never had MTV2 because if she had MTV2, she would have been like, "Hold, wait a second. I'm Johnny Knoxville." And she would have gotten to a bull ring and the bull would have ripped her in half and then the
Yeah.
story never exists.
She's like, I'm good. Yeah, so like she got to 70 because she's a lady
Yeah.
who just lives in the United Kingdom or Ireland or wherever she's from and
Ryan
just
Dunn thought he had this gene.
oh my God. Jesus Christ.
Too far?
I don't know. I
I'm
like it,
sorry.
but
He's
I
been
like
dead
it.
for 15 years.
Steve would not like that, dude. He fucking
Oh,
hates that shit. Hey
Steve-O.
man, what the fuck, man?
He'll be fine. Steve will be okay.
But anyways, they were saying not only sometimes do these kids just fuck up their bodies so bad and die as a result, but a lot of times he goes, or they have been so damaged that their joints are ruined and they're wheelchair bound and they kill themselves because they have such a bad quality of life. So
Yeah.
we don't see people with this genetic disorder live long enough to make more of these people, and that's why it's a rare thing.
How crazy is it that these people are born with something that protects them from pain, but it
Mhm.
also kills them?
Yeah,
I mean,
wow.
the irony of
Wow.
that is
Yeah.
ridiculous. And again, is why when they do, and you have some info on this, and I want to talk about it. But when they do figure out how to reverse engineer this and
Mhm.
just give it to people and start creating superheroes, we should only allow women to be superheroes.
Yeah, because we're gonna fuck it up.
But I mean, there
We're
will
all kick
be,
ass all of a sudden.
yeah, every dude who basically has the same powers as an Avenger is going to take out a skyscraper immediately. It's going to be like the end of Avengers
Yeah,
every day because dudes are just going to be throwing each other off of buildings. And I mean, it would just be men. I don't think are responsible enough for this power.
it's not good in our hands. It would be
No,
lost in our hands.
we should only be allowing women to have this ability.
We should give them it. We should They should make it into a pill,
Yeah,
and we should give it to them right before childbirth. You know,
yeah.
and then right before anal sex, and then like pretty much just those two times. Like just you only get like 6 a year, 10 a year.
Gary has this ability. You have your superpower is being able to turn anything sexual. It's you're not wrong though. This would immediately be like something, that there'd be ads on Pornhub for,
What would they
if
call it?
oh man.
What would they call it? What
They'd
would the
call it
pill be called?
the booty blocker. I don't know. I don't know what
It's
they
like
would
a
call it.
beta blocker, but it's a booty blocker. Fucking rules. I fucking love that, dude. Booty blocker. Got
I
a booty
mean,
blocker. Take a booty
that's
blocker.
and
It's my birthday.
the ad on Pornhub would probably be like a cartoon version of like a Harry Potter character, getting a fucking broomstick up the ass.
It would be Hermione just getting fucking railed by
Oh,
Ron right in the
yeah.
butt. Yeah. So to make this serious, I guess. I don't know.
So
Uh,
they are trying to reverse engineer essentially this gene right now, right? They have been
yes.
for like 20 years.
Yes. So in the early 2000s, there's a small Canadian biotech company. They're called Xenon Pharmaceuticals. They found this family from Newfoundland. I don't know how to say that, but um, they found that this family had several people in their family that had this gene. They were affected by CIP, and like the boys would have like broken bones and not know it for a long time. And there
Yeah.
was like there was this news company came and interviewed them. So then this pharmaceutical company came and started to basically test them, is what happened. And they found that there's a blocker somewhere. What they call it is
A booty blocker?
they call it a booty blocker. It's called a sodium channel blocker. So something in the brain that deals with pain is blocked by basically salt. And they don't have that gene, so everything nothing gets through. And so this company has been trying to engineer what they're calling sodium blockers, sodium channel blockers. And what I found out today was there's a race by like several pharmaceutical companies. So this one is called Xenon Pharmaceutical, but there's like I could look at it right here. There's 5 companies that are racing to find what this is to make the next painkiller, because they're first of all, there's probably a ton of money to be made. But second of all, they're saying that it's like if they can figure out the reverse engineering, as you put it, of this gene, it's relatively low risk. So a lot of painkillers now affect the heart, affect the liver, affect the kidneys, and can kill you. But they're thinking that if they can figure this gene out, that they can block pain without all of those negative side effects. But it's
I
been
mean,
happening for
I can't believe they
20
haven't
years.
figured it out yet. I
I
mean,
know.
20 years seems like such a long time.
Yeah,
I, I
24 years.
I do feel like, yeah, it would essentially put Tylenol and Advil and ibuprofen out of business, basically. Or what? They all just get the patent to it and they all make their own versions of it or whatever, I guess. But
Yeah. I think that's what
um,
it's a race for, to the patent. It's a race to figure out exactly how it works, and then you are the
well,
leader, you know.
it's way more than I feel like it's not. It doesn't even make sense to even call it a painkiller because it's way more than a painkiller. You can't take a Tylenol and then not feel pain anymore. Like if
Right.
you took this, you would be able to no longer you wouldn't feel pain.
See,
So
that's probably what they're running into is like the long-term effects of it. Like how long do you not feel pain? Does the pill wear off, you know, or again,
sure, yeah. How
like
long
does it
can you fight crime for? If you take, do you have to wait 30 minutes and
are
then you
you
start
immediately
fighting crime?
Batman?
Yeah,
Yeah.
does it hit you right away? Also, you know what I was just thinking, which would be I think really crazy, but like imagine taking this pill and then going into surgery and just like watching them operate on you
Oh wow, yeah. Yeah. I
because
mean,
you wouldn't feel anything.
yeah.
Anesthesia would go away
And
completely.
it would. And anesthesia is very dangerous too.
Yeah,
Anesthesiologist would go away,
they would just be in charge of monitoring your intake of the pill now. That's like
probably.
they would the anesthesiologist would go from like being this very prestigious like technical job to walking up with like a plastic cup with like some water in it. They're just like, okay, just take this pill and
Mm.
we'll have surgery in 20 minutes. And then you just get to watch them like cut your chest open and like do open heart surgery. And you're like, holy shit. You're just like playing on your Nintendo Switch while they're like replacing your knee. Like, I mean, it would just be insane. And
Let me ask you something.
yeah.
Um, how many of these things like that are probably like game changing, how many of them do you think are like stymied by the fact that there's already an industry in place that doesn't want this thing happening?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It goes back to the whole thing where people are like, "Oh, well, they don't want to cure cancer because then all the business of the cancer goes away." And you're like, "No, no, no. They're literally curing cancer. Like it's happening all the time. It's just not an easy thing to do." I don't think, Tylenol is lobbying to get rid of this stuff. I'm sure it's very complicated. I'm sure there's a ton of hoops to jump through. I'm sure,
Hmm.
the FDA is involved, and I'm sure that people are very concerned about what this would do. This would, I mean, dude, this would change. This is a game changer.
If
If
they could
you
figure out this gene,
if you could remove pain from human beings, I mean, that's that's like mind-boggling shit. I mean, think about all the people who just have chronic pain issues.
hmm
All of
and
that's
how,
gone.
yeah, this woman also said, and there was like a study that they did on her, where they talked about how she doesn't feel physical pain and how it is actually like related to her emotional state, where she hasn't felt depression and she hasn't felt like,
Yeah, no
yeah,
anxiety.
yeah, no anxiety. You don't wake up and you're like, fuck, my leg hurts, my back hurts, my hip hurts, and it hasn't ever led her down. She's not had a bad day.
Yeah.
She's like the happiest woman of all time.
So I mean, so it literally removes like any sort of pain pill or Advil, Tylenol, whatever. It basically removes any sort of pain management product,
Yes, exactly.
and it
Or
has the
pain
potential
mentally.
and it has the potential of replacing any sort of mental, like,
Yeah,
Zoloft or
right. I
uh
mean, I wonder how much of our pain is
Xanax.
related to like our physical well-being. Like if you hurt, your
Yeah.
mind is like you wake up pissed or in a bad mood, and she's never
Yeah,
done
I
that.
mean, dude, there's so many things. I mean, even on the small scale of like me, like basically rehabilitating my leg right now, right? And like having knee
Stressful.
issues. I mean, dude, I wear the Fitbit watch. It monitors my sleep. I'm getting my sleep is affected. I'm not sleeping as well because of the pain. Bad sleep is literally top three worst things for you. It's
Hmm.
incredibly unhealthy. I mean, pain affects so many parts of your well-being, whether it's just the physical pain or the mental, the stress, the anxiety that comes with it. If you remove the feeling of pain, I think you're changing the world. I mean,
Yeah.
when we say I can't believe it's been 20 years, they're literally working on the magic bullet here. Like this is it. This
Hmm.
would change everything.
There are 6 companies in total that are that have been racing towards this since 2000. Well, 2000, but 2017 is when a lot of people got on this. And I mean, there's Merck, Amgen, Lilly, Vertex, and Biogen. All of these companies are trying to get to figure this out. But yeah, the story about her being like, "I'm just the happiest. I don't care about anything. I've
Yeah,
had horrible hip pain. I've had this. I've had that." And she's like, "I'm good." That
yeah.
struck me so hard because I'm like, man, the times I wake up just like, fuck, I don't feel good. My body aches, this and that, and it'll fuck your day up.
And she's literally never experienced that. So,
Never, not
she
once.
could also just be a person who just maybe doesn't suffer from depression or anxiety already, and this just on top of it just kind of removes like there could be a million things, but I would be so curious to hear any sort of update on where they're at with this and if they've done any testing. I would love to know more, and hopefully maybe a few years down the road we'll actually get to hear something. But um, I mean, again, it would just be a game changer. I feel like this would be something that you would just like put in the water system. You know what I mean? Like here you go, everybody. Like just nobody feels pain anymore.
There's no more crime
Well,
because
because there's
everybody's out there.
so many superheroes.
So many superheroes.
Buy stock in capes. Whoever makes capes, you know how they're like, oh, there's when a war starts, you buy stock in oil or whatever they say. When this pill comes out, buy stock in spandex and sewing kits. I don't know, whatever it is.
Yeah, get your mask now because you want it to be original because everybody else can do the same fucking thing. So get your
Start
mask now.
working on your alter ego, and your superhero name now, because people are gonna snatch all the good names up right away.
Oh man, let me think of one.
I
I'd be
mean,
I think you'd be Stinkbeard.
Stinkbeard.
Yeah, I know your life.
Am I a villain? That's a villain name.
That's a villain name?
Doctor Stinkbeard is like
Doctor
it
Stinkbeard.
sounds like a villain.
If you add doctor to it, it's villainy.
If you add doctor to any sort of name like that, you immediately sound evil. All right. Well, this was a ton of fun. Thanks for jumping on the old podcast with me, buddy. And thank you everybody for listening. Of course, please continue to listen and spread the word. And we will talk to you in a little bit. Thanks so much, everybody.
Bye bye.